This is a new episode of Richard Talks About. Today, I'll tell you about the haunting of Greywood Manor. Greywood Manor stood on the edge of the forest, shrouded in mist and mystery. For years, it had been abandoned, its windows broken, and its walls covered in ivy. The townsfolk whispered about the ghost that supposedly haunted its halls, but no one dared to investigate. One summer evening, Will, a curious 16-year-old boy, decided to explore the manor with his two best friends, Jack and Peter. Armed with flashlights and a sense of adventure, they made their way to the house, ignoring the warnings of the locals. As they stepped inside, the air turned cold and the wooden floorboards creaked beneath their feet. Dust covered every surface, and cobwebs hung from the ceiling. "This place is so creepy," Peter whispered. Jack smirked. "What did you expect? A 5-star hotel." Will shone his flashlight on a painting of a stern-looking man. "This must be Mr. Greywood," she said. "They say he disappeared 100 years ago." As they explored, they heard a faint whisper. "Did you hear that?" Peter asked, his voice trembling. They froze, listening. The whisper came again, louder this time. "Leave now." Jack laughed nervously. "It's probably the wind," he said, but even he looked scared. They continued deeper into the house, finding a staircase that led to the upper floors. Will felt drawn to it, as if something or someone was calling him. "Let's go up," she said. Peter hesitated, but Jack followed Will. Upstairs, they found a room with a piano. The keys were dusty, yet one of them pressed down on its own, creating a haunting note. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them. Peter screamed, and Jack tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. A chilling laugh echoed through the room. "Who's there?" Will shouted. The laughter faded, replaced by a woman's voice. "You shouldn't be here." The ghost introduced herself as Clara, the former maid of the Greywood family. "You must leave before he finds you," she warned. "Who?" Jack asked. Clara's face twisted in fear. "Mr. Greywood. His spirit is restless, and he doesn't like visitors." Before they could ask more questions, a loud bang came from downstairs. The ghost vanished, and the teenagers were left alone in the eerie silence. "We need to get out of here," Peter said, panic in his voice. They ran down the stairs, but the front door was now locked. As they searched for another exit, the air grew colder. Suddenly, the spirit of Mr. Greywood appeared, his eyes glowing red and his face twisted with anger. "You trespassers," he roared. Will stood his ground, holding up his flashlight. "We're sorry. We didn't mean to disturb you." The ghost hesitated, then pointed toward the portrait they had seen earlier. "Destroy it," he commanded. "Free me from this curse." Without thinking, Will grabbed a nearby chair and smashed the painting. A deafening scream filled the air, and the ghost of Mr. Greywood vanished in a swirl of smoke. The door unlocked, and the teenagers ran outside, gasping for air. As they looked back at the manor, they saw the figure of Clara in the window, smiling and waving goodbye. The house seemed less ominous, almost peaceful. "Let's never do that again," Peter said, and the others nodded. They walked back to town, vowing to never return to Greywood Manor, but knowing they had just lived through a story they would never forget. This was Richard Talks About. See you next time for another episode.
Ah!